Hey, it's Annie. So today you're in my kitchen, and the reason you're in my kitchen because we're going to talk about kitchen cabinets. I'll share more of my kitchen another day because I'm doing some things in here, so I'm not ready to reveal everything. But like I said, I wanted to talk about. Look, I'm finding a crumb on my counter. Oh, I wanted to say too, if you are following me on the blog, and I hope that you are. You probably noticed that my backsplash looks different, and it does because I took it off, and I'm going to be doing something totally different. So stay tuned for that because I'm doing lots of changes in here. So okay, so let's go back in time. When I first started blogging, it's going on 5 years. I was wanting a change in my house. You know, after I started posting my photos on my blog, I was like, oh my gosh, that is totally not my style. What the heck am I doing? And one of the things I really did not like is my kitchen cabinets. When we bought our home and we were picking out all of our options and upgrades and everything, I picked out really dark cabinets. The cabinets are maple and the finishes are really dark cherry. I don't know what in the world I was thinking. It's totally not myself. So I wanted to paint my kitchen cabinets. And the big thing at the time when I first started blogging was chalk paint. And the only chalk paint I knew of at the time was Annie Sloan. So people had used Annie Sloan and said, oh, you don't have to sand or prime or anything, you just paint the cabinets. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do. So like I said, it was just new, so there wasn't a lot of people that had it for a while that really said, oh, I've done this, and you know, this is how it worked for me, or after a year, this is how it's doing, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I decided to paint my cabinets with Annie Sloan paint. Didn't sand them, I didn't prime them, didn't do anything. It took me, I think it took me about 3 or 4 coats of paint on all my cabinets, and I got a lot. You can't see it on the video, but believe me, I have a lot of cabinets. So I did that, and you had to sand in between. And I decided to wax them. People had said they waxed them and loved the look and said they were holding up, so I thought, okay, I'm going to wax them. I know a lot of people cringe about that, so I thought, I'm going to do that. And so when I painted them, it was no problem. It was very, very messy to do because you had to sand it, so it was very messy to do. So it wasn't like there was no sanding involved, we still had to. And when you use chalk paint, you want to distress them. I mean, that's the point of using chalk paint, is you want to be able to distress your cabinets, okay, or your piece of furniture, whatever. So I painted my cabinets after all those coats of paint, and then I waxed them. I didn't want to use Annie Sloan wax. The reason I didn't is because I am not patient and I don't like to wait. With her wax, you have to apply it, you have to wait before you buff it, and I had to apply it. I think I applied it 2 or 3 times. I wanted them to be really durable because it's my kitchen. And you're probably wondering, why did you use wax on them? Years ago, I painted a piece of furniture. It was a white piece of furniture. I put a poly on it and it turned yellow. And I ruined my piece, you know, unless I wanted to sand it all off. So the thought of that happening in my kitchen cabinets and have to sand all these was like, I didn't want to take that chance. You know what I mean? So I thought, okay, I'm going to use a wax. So instead of using Annie Sloan, I use a different wax. I think it's called Feeds or Feds, something like that. Really good wax. I use it on furniture. After I applied it, I noticed in a lot of like the detailed areas, it was turning a mustard yellow. Yeah, so I was freaking out a little bit. So I had to sand that down. So now more work again. I had to sand it down, clean it up, and then I ended up using Annie Sloan wax, which I didn't want to do in the first place. The thing about wax that I found, at least with my kitchen cabinets, I don't know, there must be more dust in a kitchen or something, because I've painted, you know, furniture and I've waxed, I've never had a problem. But I feel like when I waxed the cabinets, I felt like I was constantly finding little like hairs and you know, pieces of lint or something, you know what I mean, that I had to constantly keep cleaning out as I was doing it. So it was maddening doing it, okay? But I did it, and it lasted about 3 years, and I felt like it needed to be repainted. So I repainted it with another paint. I waxed some of it, but I didn't wax all my cabinets stupidly, because it's just such a job. So you know what happens if you don't put anything on a flat paint? It's going to get dirty and dingy. So Now I started working with another paint company, and I wanted to use one of my colors on it, so I painted all my cabinets like a year ago. I don't even remember, time goes by so fast. So I painted them again. I started waxing them again. Well, I didn't finish waxing. I waxed one section. I noticed that I missed some spots, and I was like, oh my gosh, I missed spots, and I gotta go over it, and I gotta finish it, and I never did. I just got aggravated. So over the summer, my cabinets just looked terrible. They were just, you couldn't see it on camera, but believe me, they were dirty and dingy and gross. So, and I love white, and you can, as long as you can clean them, it's okay. So I decided this time that I was going to use regular paints, and I'm going to tell you why I would never use chalk paints on my cabinets again, unless I want a distressed look. Let me just tell you what I used on my cabinets this time. This paint is amazing. This isn't a sponsored post. This company doesn't even know I'm alive, okay? It's Beer Premium, okay, I have to see. It says Beer Premium, it's all covered in paint, but it's Beer Premium Paints Ultra. It's a paint and primer in one. When I went to Home Depot, I told the woman at the painting section, I said that I wanted to paint over my cabinets and I want to paint them again. And she said, this is really good and durable. She said, it will not come off unless you strip it off. So I thought, that's what I want. So what I did is I slightly sanded my cabinets. Then I used this crud cutter on it. I sprayed it and wiped it off really good. I did that on all my cabinets. Then I used a brush. My favorite brush is Purdy. Again, I'm not affiliated with them. I'm just telling you what I use and I love. I used a Purdy brush, and in all the detail, I went in and I used the brush with a roller, foam roller. I went ahead and I did all the really long areas, wide areas with the foam roller. Wow. I think if you saw my cabinets in person, it's hard to tell in video, but I feel like it looks like I used a sprayer on them. That's how good it looks. It doesn't look textured or anything like that. There's a couple areas that really lightly, I could still see some of the brush marks really lightly from the chalk paint, but not from this paint. I'm going to use this paint. There's a couple cabinets. You can see my doors are off. I took those off when I painted them the first time, and I never painted them. So I am going to paint those, and I want to see how this paint does on, you know, dark wood like that, like how many coats it takes and whatever. So I think I might do like a demo, you know what I mean, and just show you how I painted the cabinets, and I'll use those. So I'll do that on a video soon. So that's what I did. What I did is a section at a time too. I did like the other side of my kitchen, which you can't see, the other side of my kitchen, then I did this side of the desk, and then I did this. So it took me about 3 days because I wanted to make sure that I did a really good job and I wasn't like trying to hurry or anything like that. That's another thing. Don't be in a hurry to do your kitchen cabinets. And I'll tell you another reason why I love this paint. Inside of these cabinets, when I painted them the first time, because I was planning on keeping the doors off, I wanted to have the inside of the cabinets painted white. So I knew I had to use a primer on it. The inside of those cabinets is not wood. It's like the outside is real wood, the inside is not. I mean, even the sides I don't think are wood. Just the fronts, the doors, and the trim. I think that's it, really. It's like a particle board, and then it's wrapped in some sort of what looks like it's wood, but it's not real wood, if you know what I'm saying. So I couldn't sand it. But what I did do is I started applying a primer on it. So I thought a primer would work and then I could paint on it. Well, the primer never adhered. It kept separating, and I didn't know what to do. So at the time what I did is I'm like, I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to make it look old. And so I put a wax on it. So with that, the wax and that, it kind of gave it a funky old look. But I'm going to be honest, I never really liked that look, but I just had to deal with what I had because I thought, that's it. I'm not going to be able to fix it. Now that we're thinking of, you know, selling our house the next couple of years, I'm like, I have to fix it because it looks horrible. I use this paint on the inside of those cabinets, and I don't know, you can see it in video, and I'll have to take some photos. I'll take some photos because this will be a blog post too. You can't even see how it used to look. I'll have to see if I have a before photo. I probably should have taken one before, but I didn't know that this was going to cover it that good, so I didn't think about it. But this paint is amazing. I love this paint. Glidden for the walls. I'm happy with my Glidden paint that I just used, and I'll talk about that soon. But This stuff is amazing. So, why I wouldn't use chalk paint again? For me, I wouldn't use it again unless I was going to distress my cabinets. When I did it the first time, I really didn't want to distress my cabinets. The only reason I was using chalk paint is because I thought it was going to be easier and faster and cheaper, and it wasn't. It wasn't any easier, it wasn't any faster, and it definitely wasn't any cheaper. If you wanted to distress your cabinets, I would say use a chalk paint, but I would not use white. I would use a different color because that way you could put a poly on it, and probably wouldn't, if it did yellow a little bit, you wouldn't see it as much, I would think. So if you want to use a chalk paint, I wouldn't use white. I would use a different color, and then I would definitely use a poly or something to seal it, or a water-based top coat too, or whatever, you know. But I would not use wax. If you want, and then that's the only way to do it. I mean, I wouldn't use a paint primer if you want to distress, like sand. When I say distress, I mean sand it down. If you want to sand it down, I would not use a primer because you're going to have to go through a lot of layers to get to that, and it's not going to look as authentic. So I would definitely use a chalk paint if that's what you wanted to do, but I wouldn't use it in white. If you want to have nice white cabinets that are like factory finish look, then I would use a paint like this. This paint's amazing. Or you know, or if you don't want to do a paint and primer one, then use you know, a primer and then a good paint. That's what I would do. I would never recommend doing chalk painted cabinets again. Like I said, it's just a lesson that I learned. I didn't know, you know. I always like to try different things, and sometimes things work out, and sometimes in the long run it doesn't. So painting my kitchen cabinets, I love my white cabinets. I love my white cabinets, but I would never do chalk paint again. If I could do it over again, I would have done it the right way in the first place, instead of doing all the steps that I did, because it just, like I said, it cost me more money, took more time, and I don't know. So if you wanted to use this paint, okay, you want to use paint and primer, you wanted that look, you wanted a smooth look, but you still wanted a patina, you could do a glaze on it. So you could still add a patina, like I could do that. I'm not going to. I really like the white look. But if I wanted to, I could add a glaze to it, and then you don't have to sand it. So you could still use this paint, but use a glaze. Now if you use a glaze, obviously you're not going to have white cabinets. It's going to be like that umber color. Is it umber color? Umber brown, I guess. So you have a color like that on your cabinets, which is really pretty. It's just not the look that I want. The nice thing I will say about that is they probably look like they stay cleaner longer, because if something gets dirty, you're not going to see it as much. Where I'm probably going to be wiping these off a little bit more, although we're pretty neat, but you know, you get fingerprints. But so far I will tell you, I mean, I've only had my cabinets painted for a couple weeks now, I think. And so far I'm liking it, but we'll see a year from now how they're holding up. Maybe I'll have to do another video a year from now and say how much I like this painter, you know, it didn't work out. Hopefully it does, because I swear I do not want to paint these cabinets again. I painted them like, well, more than 4 times, because if you figure I had to paint them all those different layers. There's a lot of layers in here. I do not want to paint these cabinets ever again, ever. So I'm just sharing what I learned, so that's it. I just want to share this video with you. I hope that you found it informative. If you're thinking about painting your cabinets, really think about what you want, a distressed look, or do you want a factory finished look? You know, if you want a factory finished look, do not go with chalk paint. You're going to get brush strokes in it anyways. If you want a factory finished look, then you're going to want to do a paint and primer paint, or a primer and then a paint, okay? But I would not use chalk paint if that's the look you want. If you want a distressed look where you want it sanded down and really rustic and everything, use chalk paint, but don't use white. And then I would use like a water-based or poly or whatever on top of it to seal it, to protect it. So that's the nice thing about this, is you paint it and don't have to seal it. You're gonna have to wax it. So awesome. So that's it. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Hope that it was informative, and please give it a thumbs up and tell your friends, and make sure you subscribe to my channel. And if you are, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I am so glad that you are here with me. I am so glad that you took the time out of your day. I love that, you know, that you're here with me. And you can make sure that you follow me on my blog, White Lace Cottage. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Pinterest, Google+. And that's it, guys. Thanks so much again for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye.